I'm here with Walker from Makenoise, all the way here from North Carolina.
How's it going? Yeah, that's right. North Carolina and Asheville, that's where we're based.
So you have 3 new modules that you're going to introduce us to.
Yeah, that's right. We have the Soundhack Mimeophone over here in the corner. We also have the X-Pan, and then we have the XO. So kind of go through them one at a time really quickly. Start with the Mimeophone. This is a stereo multi-zone color audio repeater, as what we're calling it. It's coded by Tom Erb of Soundhack, and it's a brand new algorithm. So at its core, it repeats audio that comes into it, like an echo or a delay. We have control over the number of repeats, as well as the color of the repeats from bright down to dark. And we have a control called Halo, which kind of smears the edges of the sound around the repeats. Those 3 controls are all really fed into each other. The Halo and color are fed through the repeats so that they're cumulative. They pick up over time, changing. And they're also fed into each other, affecting each other in various ways as well. So you have several dimensions to what the sound can do. Also, this is a stereo module. It's stereo in, stereo out, and we have a special new option called skew. We press that button, it causes the rates to change differently for the left and right outputs. So when I turn it so it's faster on one side, it goes slower on the other side, creating interesting stereo effects, make your mono signal more interesting in a stereo way, or add even more depth to an existing stereo signal. We have this control called zone, which sets the size of the repeats, and this can go all the way from really short for like flanging and chorus type of effects, up to more note length repeats for a standard type of delay, and then it gets into really long times that are more like a looper, where we might start to hear things that we did a minute ago coming back around. The smaller zones are always being recorded into the longer zones, so you have a constant set of interlocked buffers where one is going into the next, and it's just like really kind of nested in terms of the zones. The other cool thing about zone is that when you change the zone, the changes are instantaneous. It doesn't do that sort of Doppler pitch shifting that often happens with delay algorithms when you change the length. But we also have that option available as well, because if you change the rate, we do get those sort of like tape sounds where things are pitching and changing speed. We also can actually tempo lock the rate, which will allow us to do instantaneous shifts on rate, just like we do on zone for sort of complex polyrhythms and stuff like that. If we press flip, the repeats will go backwards. If we press hold, it'll hold whatever is currently in the buffer and just repeat it forever. And that's non-destructive, so we can change the color, add halo, switch zones, do whatever we want, and it's going to maintain the same thing in the buffer for as long as it's held. These things can all be put under voltage control too, and it really modulates well, because what we really like to have is what we consider to be a modeless device, something where you can organically morph from something like flange or chorus into delay and out to loops, and everything is constantly moving from one to the next if you want it to, without any real space in between, so that it's all just modeless and one big sort of ball of sound and algorithm, instead of being like different types of sounds built in. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, no, this is a really beautiful unit. I feel like it would resonate a lot to like ambient musicians, ambient music.
Certainly. I think it definitely has a lot of use for ambient stuff, and also if you put more kind of percussive or glitchy stuff, it's really nice for like the glitchy type rhythms you might associate with IDM and stuff like that.
IDM. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's got like the warm, kind of soft textures. When did this come out?
So this is actually not released yet. We're hoping to open it for pre-orders next month. We're actually going to ship this by the end of the summer is the goal. So we've also got the X-Pan here. The X-Pan is a 5-channel voltage-controlled crossfading and panning mixer. So basically we have for each channel 2 inputs between which we can crossfade. Now right now I have nothing in the right inputs of either of these channels, so I'm crossfading into nothing. Here's that bass line that we were listening to before. I'm going to put an oscillator in, or the oscillator output from that same VCO, so we can create a drone. The crossfade there is the same, just crossfading between that rhythmic bass line and the drone. If I press some, we can modulate between, or crossfade between the two as we like. This is also a panning mixer, so we can pan from left to right. Actually, let's go ahead and add this back in a little bit and pan by voltage control. If you're listening on headphones, you can probably hear it kind of moving from left to right with that voltage. It can pan at audio rate, which can be pretty wild. So there are 2 channels like that, plus an aux stereo input that can be used to bring in a different signal into the sound. So some kind of glitchy stuff here from the Morphogene. And then it has a stereo output. And this module is it's designed to have very low noise and high headroom, since you could be mixing potentially up to 6 signals in there. This way it's just really you can know that you're not going to distort your signals, and it's always going to sound really nice. Finally, we have the XO, which stands for Mix, Output, and Headphones. This is kind of a final outs module. It's a 2-channel stereo mixer. Since a lot of these modules that we've come up with recently have stereo outputs, it can be really useful to just be able to mix a couple stereo outputs together at the end of the signal chain. So here I have the Q-Pass mixed in with the other sound that we already had coming in from the Mimeophone. There's a stereo line output, left and right channels, and then we have a headphone out with a volume control. This is based on the same circuit as our CV bus headphone out. Really nice driver for headphones, and it can also drive monitors or a PA. And it has nice soft saturation when you really crank it to protect your speakers and ears, and sounds pretty good too. Yeah. So the Mimeophone TBD will be TBD in terms of price will be shipping at the end of the summer. The X-Pan will be shipping in 1 to 2 weeks. That's $259 US. And then the XO we expect to ship next month for $110.
Awesome, cool. So check them out. Makenoise, thank you.
Thanks a lot.